Welcome to the Daftra ERP. In this video, we will explain the steps we would need to follow to initialize the system and complete the setup to begin working from the data entry until generating reports. And in this video, we will go through these topics. Let's start by introducing you to a brief summary of what Daftra does. Daftra is an accounting software that can be used for various business fields, and it works completely online on a cloud basis, which guarantees the highest standard of security of your data, ease of access from any device and anywhere, as it wouldn't matter if you are using it on a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, or a PC. It also provides you with the flexibility and free technical support 24/7, and it also offers regular system updates to maintain the security and improvement of the system. The software also offers a special offline version of the point of sales or the POS app, which we will talk about in more detail later in this video. We will now start exploring the settings and apps of Daftra and how to customize them to fit our specific business needs. The settings that we will talk about include the account settings, the apps management, and Daftra mobile apps that you can download on both iOS and Android operating systems, and at last, the business logo and the theme colors. Let's first start with the account settings. After the creation of the account, we will be directed automatically to the main system interface. From the main menu, you can head to Settings and then Account Settings, and on this page, you can edit the data that was entered previously when you were first creating the account, or enter a new data if you want. For example, you can edit your first and last name. Please note that 3 entries cannot be edited after the account's been created, which are the account country, the account main currency, and the business field or the industry of the account. Please note that, as mentioned earlier, Daftra includes various business fields, and the interface of these different businesses is pretty much the same, except for slight differences like the label names of the sections in the main menu. For example, in this interface for retail businesses, the Clients module is labeled as Clients, whilst, for example, in a school or an educational type of business, the Clients module will be named as Students or as Patients in the healthcare industry. So, it's just mainly the differences in the label names of the different modules in Daftra. However, the functionalities are pretty much the same. In the Account Settings page, you can edit your mobile number, your telephone number, your address details, the CR code, or the tax ID. And the label name for that field might differ depending on the country of your account. Also, if you are making transactions in different currencies, and you need to manually enter an exchange rate for each of these currencies within a specific time frame, then you can click on the currency rates to enter the currency exchange rate in a specific time frame. And if you don't do that, the currency rate of the system will be automatically set as the international exchange trading rates, and you wouldn't need to enter them manually at all, as the system would use it from the internationally known currency rates for that time. You can also edit the time zone and the negative currency format, and you can choose the time format and the date format that's suitable for your business or what you want. You can also change the language between Arabic and English, and depending on your system, you can choose the type of items that you are selling. If they were products only, services only, or both products and services. And we will go through this part in more detail when we speak about the inventory later. You can also choose your preferred printing method. You can either print directly through the browser or download the document in PDF format. In the logo field, you can upload the logo of your business. And as you can see, this is the logo of my account, and it's displayed on the top left-hand corner of the screen. You can either preview it, delete it, or click on Choose File to upload a logo from your device to your Daftra account. The logo will appear on the different templates and reports on your account that you will be generating later. You can also change the username or the email address and the password from this button. And at last, don't forget to click on Save once you are done. We will move to the Apps Manager page, which can be reached by clicking on Settings from the main menu and then Apps Manager. You can activate or deactivate the apps depending on your business needs. And once you are done, make sure to click on Save on the top right corner of the screen. We move next to Daftra mobile apps, which can be downloaded on both Android and iOS operating systems. From the top right corner of the screen, click on the username and then click on Daftra mobile apps. We have here Daftra General app, employee attendance, POS app, and quick expenses scanner. After you download Daftra General app on your phone or tablet, you will be able to access your Daftra account from your device without needing to access a browser. As for the employee attendance app, the employee or user will be able to sign in and sign out using their own mobile device such on tablet, whether that was within the work premises or outside the premises. We also have the POS app, which is important in generating sales invoices offline. And after you are able to go online again, you will be able to synchronize the invoices and the transactions that were created when you were offline so that they would be saved on your main Daftra account. At last, you will find the Quick Expense Scanner app, which enables you to get the invoice details that include a QR code and save it on the system easily and instantly. And with that being done, corresponding expense records will be added and saved to the system. Now, we will learn how to upload our business logo and change the theme colors of the system. Head to Settings from the main menu, and then click on System Logo and Colors. And from here, you can change the color used in the system interface by choosing it from the previously created colors, or you can choose it using this tool. You can also enable the dark mode or disable it. And by enabling the simple side menu, then saving the settings, you will be able to filter the apps that show on the main menu, so you can either display all the apps or some of them only. For example, if I choose Sales only, the apps related to the Sales module will be displayed, and so on. You can either enable or disable the simple slide menu depending on your needs. As for the system logo, you can upload it from the Account Settings page, as we've explained earlier, or you can add it by going back to the previous window and clicking on Choose File, and then clicking on Save after you make any changes. We will now talk about the chart of accounts, which includes clients or customers, suppliers, warehouses, treasuries, and bank accounts, in addition to tax accounts and fixed assets. All of the data related to these accounts can be entered through their own apps in the system, and each item you add will automatically generate a sub-account for that item in the chart of accounts in the related main account. As for the other sub-accounts, you can add them manually in the chart of accounts, and you can edit or reroute them later if you want, and we'll explain how to do that shortly. We'll start by explaining how we can add clients. However, before we start, we'll talk about some settings that need to be reviewed before we start. Head to Clients in the main menu, and then Client Settings. And from this page, you will be able to select the type of clients you would like to add, whether they are business or individual clients. And the system won't allow choosing the other type if you only select one of them in here. So, if you would like to be able to add any of them when you are adding a new client, make sure to choose Both. If you would like, you can enable the option of sending the client details via social media, so you can send it to them using WhatsApp, for example. From the Client's Extra Fields section, you can tick the field that you would like to be displayed within the client details when you add them, and you can leave the ones you don't need deactivated. Once you are done, you can click on Save from the top right corner of the screen. Then, through the client permissions, you can disable the client's online access from here. Or, if you would like to give them access and set the permissions you would like to give to your clients online, and click on Save once you are done. Going back again to the Client Settings page and going to the Client Custom Fields card, you can add extra fields in case there are any extra information that you would like to include in the client profile, and that doesn't have a field for it on the system by default. For example, adding a field for the client nationality to their profile. You can also manage the client follow-up statuses, and that helps in distinguishing between the clients when it comes to their follow-up status, which will make managing your clients easier. An example of a client follow-up status would be VIP client, in debt, in credit, and so on. Also, you will find the related forms, which by creating, you will be able to attach extra information or files to the client profile. For example, you can add a form to attach the image of the client's tax certificate, or the commercial registration certificate, or any other data related to the client. It is recommended to add these forms before you start adding your client data, so that you would be able to fill them when you are adding your clients. And to add a new client, you can click on Add New Client below the Clients menu on the main page, or you can click on Manage Clients, and click on Add Client from there. The system also allows you to import a large number of clients at once, using a CSV file that includes the client data, and this can be done by clicking on the Import button and uploading the client data to the system. When you are adding a new client, you can choose either Business or Individual from the Client Type section, and notice the appearance of the VAT number field when you choose the client type as Business, and how it disappears when you choose the type as Individual. Now you can start entering your data and make sure to fill in the fields with the red star, as they are mandatory, and you don't have to fill the other fields if you don't want to. In this example, we will suffice by only entering the client name, and below, you will find fields for the credit limit and the credit period limit, and both are important for organizing clients' post payments. The credit limit is the maximum amount of overdue balance the client is allowed to have, and we will set it as 10,000 Saudi riyals in this example. In case a client exceeds their credit limit, the system will disable adding any future invoices for them, and you will get a message that the client has exceeded their credit limit. As for the credit period limit, it's the maximum time allowed for the client to pay off their overdue balance within. For example, if it's set to 3 days, the system will disable adding any new invoices to the client if they haven't paid off their overdue balance within this period, and you would also get an error message indicating that the client has exceeded their credit period limit. After you are done, click on Save on the top right corner of the screen, and you will then be automatically directed to the client page, where you can easily display the client account in the chart of accounts by clicking on the client number on the top, and the account name will depend on the name you've entered when you were creating the client account. And as we can see in the chart of accounts, the sub-account related to the client has been generated under Clients, which falls under the Accounts Receivable, under the Current Assets in the Assets account, which means that the client account will be routed automatically to the correct account in the chart of account after you create it. Going back to the client page from the toolbar, you can create an invoice to the client straight away, an estimate or a credit note, and others. You can also add opening balance or log in to the system as the client. Now, if we go back to the Manage Clients page, we will find the client listed in the clients list. And of course, you can select that client when creating invoices or any other sales transactions on the system, and these transactions will be recorded in the sub-account of that client in the chart of accounts. And to add suppliers, head to the Purchases list in the main menu, and then go to Supplier Settings. And from here, we will set up the custom fields like we did before in the Clients module. From the custom fields, you will be able to manually add extra fields to the supplier profile if those fields are not available by default in the system. You can also generate related forms to attach extra documents or information to the supplier profile. And after you are done setting up the supplier settings, head to the Manage Suppliers page. And you can then manually enter the suppliers one by clicking on the Add Supplier button on the top right corner of the screen. And in case you have a large group of suppliers, the system gives you the option to import them from a CSV file. And you can do that by clicking on this import icon and uploading the file to the system. When creating a new supplier, start by adding their business name and complete adding their other data. You will also notice that all the fields are optional, excluding the fields marked with the star. In this example, we will suffice by adding the supplier business name only, and then we'll click on Save. After the creation of the supplier, we can view their created account in the chart of accounts by clicking on this number. And as you can see in the chart of accounts, the supplier account has been created under the supplier's account, which falls under the accounts payable in the current liabilities under the liabilities account. Through the toolbar in the supplier profile, you can create a purchase invoice from here, view their statement, add opening balance to the supplier, add payment credit, and you can also temporarily suspend the supplier account or delete it, only in case there are no recorded transactions related to the supplier account on the system. If we go back to the Manage Suppliers page, the entered supplier will reflect in the suppliers list, and from here, you can view the supplier profile, edit it, or delete it. Now, we will talk about adding warehouses. Head to the Inventory menu, and then to Warehouses. And when you access the Warehouses page, you will find the primary warehouse which has been added to the system by default. And if you need to add more, you can click on the New Warehouse button from the top right corner of the screen, and then enter the warehouse name and set up the permission of displaying the warehouse to everyone, to specific staff members, specific roles, or specific branches, and then complete the setup for the permissions related to creating invoices and updating the stock. After you are done, click on Save on the top right corner of the screen. And as you can see, the warehouse has been added to the system. And when you add products to your account, you will be able to select the warehouse to add the items to it, and also when dispensing products. The software also allows transferring quantities between warehouses depending on the available quantities of the items. And we'll discuss this point in more detail when we talk about managing the inventory. You can display the account related to the warehouse by heading to the Accounting menu and then going to the Chart of Accounts page, and through the Assets account, and then the Current Assets, and then the Inventory. We will find that the account related to the warehouse has been created. Now we will start talking about the treasuries and bank accounts. Head to Finance and then Treasuries and Bank Accounts. And in here we will find both options to add a treasury or a bank account, and we'll explain more details about the differences between them. We'll also find that a main treasury has been created by default in the system, and to add a new treasury, click on Add Treasury from the top right corner. Now, enter the name of the treasury, like Treasury 1, and enter the description if you need to add it. Also, if you would like to route the treasury to a sub-account that you've manually created from the Chart of Accounts, then you can choose it from this menu, and it's needed to consider the account routing, and we'll explain this in more detail in another video. Set the permissions related to the treasury and choose who has the permission to withdraw or deposit, if it's all, specific staff members, specific roles, or specific branches. Click on Save, and now the treasury has been successfully added to the Treasuries and Bank Accounts list. To add a bank account, click on the Add Bank Account button. Then enter the bank name, for example, Ali United Bank, and choose the name of the bank from the list. Enter the bank account number and select the currency of this bank account. Make sure to choose the active status and add a description if you need to in the description field. And, as explained before when adding a treasury, set the permissions related to this bank account, then click on Save. Now, what differs a bank account from a treasury account? In the bank account, you will be able to select the currency of the account, and after you save it, you will find the option of importing the bank statement, which is not available in the treasury account. And this option allows the integration between your actual bank account and the bank account in Daftra to synchronize the transactions between your bank account and Daftra's account, and also enables you to manually import the bank statement. After the creation of the treasury or the bank account, you can display their generated account in the Chart of Accounts by clicking on the number at the top, and the bank accounts will be displayed under the bank account, under the current assets, under the assets, and any added treasuries will be added under the treasury account in the Chart of Accounts. And with that being done, they get organized in an accurate accounting way in the system, which will help you manage your finances more efficiently and smoothly. Now, we will talk about the tax accounts, which are automatically created in the system, and to display the created taxes, head to Settings, and then to Tax Settings. You will find that the system has added some taxes automatically, which will depend on the country chosen when creating the account. In this example, we have chosen Saudi Arabia as the country when we created the account, and in here, you will find the 3 default taxes for Saudi Arabia, which are the value-added tax, zero tax, and exemption tax. And the system enables you to edit the tax name and percentage, and to add new taxes, and also deleting any tax, in case it was not applied to any transactions previously. You can also control the inclusion or exclusion of the tax from the item's prices. In case of choosing the tax type as exclusive, the system will add the tax value to the item price. For example, if the item price is 100 Saudi riyals and the tax percentage is 15%, the final price will be 115 Saudi riyals. In case the tax is inclusive, the final price will include the tax, for example. If the item entered price is 100, the final price would be 100, which will include the tax value. Please note that the system creates the tax accounts automatically, after entering transactions that include these taxes. And that's why in this example, we've created a transaction previously and added the value-added tax to it. Now, to view the value-added tax account in the chart of accounts, we'll head to the Accounting menu and then to Chart of Accounts. And you can either head to the account manually or by searching for it in the search box. We'll head to Liabilities and then Current Liabilities, and we'll then find the VAT payable account. And when clicking on it, you will find that it branches out two sub-accounts: the Income VAT, which is related to the VAT added to incomes and sales invoices, and the Outcome VAT, which relates to the VAT added to expenses and purchases. You can track each of these accounts from here and find the tax value on the right-hand side for each of these sub-accounts. And the difference between the Outcome VAT and the Income VAT will appear at the top right corner of the screen. After this, we will now talk about the fixed assets. Head to the Accounting menu and then click on Chart of Accounts. Under the Fixed Assets account, you will find a group of main accounts that are added automatically by the system. And in case you need to add more main accounts, you can click on Add Account. Choose Main Account as the account type, and it will be added under the Fixed Assets account, as we can see. And to add a sub-account to the fixed assets, head to the Assets option under the Accounting menu and click on Add Asset on the top right corner of the screen, and then enter the data related to the fixed asset. If you don't choose the In-Service Date from here, the depreciation journal of the asset will be created with the date starting from the Purchase Date. Choose the cash account of this asset from the accounts added, whether it is a Treasury, bank account, or a supplier account. The time measurement unit used in the Useful Life field is the month, and in this example, the useful life is 5 years, which equals 60 months. If there are several quantities of the same asset, enter the total quantity in the Quantity field. You can also select an employee from the Employee dropdown so that they would be responsible for tracking this asset. Enter the salvage value, which usually equals 1, and then choose the depreciation method and enter the depreciation period, and the system will automatically calculate the fixed depreciation value journal. In this example, one depreciation journal will be automatically generated each month with this value, and you can set the depreciation end date from here, or leave the field empty, and once you are done, click on Save to save the fixed asset. From this page, you can view all the data related to this fixed asset, and in the Transactions log, we will notice the addition of the purchase date and the dates of depreciation depending on the entered in-service date. When creating a fixed asset, the system automatically created 3 accounts in the chart of accounts. Here at the top, you will find the fixed asset account under the fixed assets, the accumulated depreciation related to the asset under the liabilities, and the depreciation expense account under the expenses. You can take various actions on the asset manually from the Actions toolbar in here. When you go to the Chart of Accounts and look for the accounts linked to the asset, each of the accounts will appear under the account it's related to. With that being done, the fixed assets will be managed accurately and efficiently accounting-wise. If we head to the Chart of Accounts, the 5 primary accounts will be displayed to us, which are the assets, liabilities, owner's equity, revenue, and expenses. When adding a new account to the Chart of Accounts, it needs to be branched out from one of these primary accounts, and not as an independent primary account, as this will result in accounting errors. Each of the assets, liabilities, and owner's equity account has an effect on the balance sheet, whilst the difference between the revenue and expenses accounts will be reflected in the profit and loss report. And all 5 accounts will reflect in the trial balance report. So, randomly adding primary accounts will definitely lead to errors in the accounting reports. If you need to add a new main account, under the expenses primary account, for example, head to the expenses account and then click on Add Account. Then choose the account type, enter the name, and then click on Save. You can also add main accounts to another main account until this leads to the addition of a sub-account, so that the daily journal entries related to the transactions would be added to that sub-account later on. You can track the location of the account from the chart of accounts on the left-hand side, and you'll find that the main accounts are in dark blue folders, and you will also be able to tell the sub-accounts. If you need to edit the account data, you can click on the 3 horizontal dots next to it and click on Edit, and through the Edit window, you can easily route the account to a different account by choosing that account name from the drop-down list, edit the account name, or the account code. So, in this part, we're going to explain how exactly we can control your inventory settings. It can be done by going to your Inventory module. Click on Inventory Settings. We're starting with General Settings right here. The first option, which is Allow Negative Inventory. Allow Negative Inventory will allow you to sell products and issue invoices, even if you don't have any goods available in the inventory. Once you activate it, the system will refuse to issue the invoice and will alert you that you are out of stock. Next option right here is the Advanced Pricing option. When you activate the Advanced Pricing option, the system will give you the option to control and calculate your product minimum price discount type, and profit margin, which will reflect also on your sales invoices when you create them. Coming to the third option, Enable Stock Requests, it will give you the option to create an authorization request. The warehouse distributes quantities without immediately affecting the quantity of the product available in the stock. Coming to the fourth and fifth options, which is Enable Requisitions for Sales Invoices and Purchase Invoices. Right now, in this option, and in the case of the sales invoice, it's going to be outbound and it's going to be inbound in the case of purchases. After creating the invoice status will be under delivery, as it is waiting for your confirmation or approval. You can change the status to be delivered or partial delivery once you receive it in your inventory or once you deliver it to your client. Coming to the next option, which is to track products using serial, lot, or expiry date. We'll give you the option to track the quantity of the product in stock using the serial number, the lot number, expiry date, and you can select any of them when you add your product for the first time. Allow negative inventory tracking items. It will give you the option to adjust the tracking type of your product, even if you don't have any in stock. Coming to the next option, which is Enable Multiple Unit Systems. This option will allow you to sell or deal with the product in more than one unit or measurement type, such as gram, kilogram pieces, or packages, and so on. Coming to the next option, which is Calculate the Stock-Taking System Count, based on the stock-taking date, allows you to perform the process of pulling the inventory at any area or later date in order to know the actual quantity of the product on the specific date, instead of displaying the actual quantity currently available. Coming to the next option, which is Enable Bundles and Composite Items. This option will allow you to add assembled products. An assembled product is a complete product made up of a group of primary products or materials. And we have two types. The first is a pack product. And when you create it, the primary products that make up will be deducted from the stock. And the second is the compound products. The compound products here are the primary products that will be deducted from the stock once you issue the sales invoice itself. Coming to the next option, which is Show both on-hand and available stock of products. This option enables one to verify the availability of quantity of stock by means of the total stock or the available stock. This option is aligned to the option of enabling a negative inventory, aligned with this one right here, on-hand stock. So, determining the first option right here, which is on-hand stock, the system will display to you the quantity if the product in stock and will allow you to add products to sales invoice, even if part of it is in order or awaiting approval of the warehouse permit. Available stock. The second option, which is available stock after selecting it, issuing a sales invoice for a quantity that exceeds the amount of available inventories available actually or verbally. In other words, the system will deduct the number of products reserved in the warehouse permit. Coming to the next option, which is journal accounts. The sub-account that will be recorded in the journal entries is automatically set by the system. and you can choose another account from the list of the accounts added to the system. Coming to the last option, which is the default warehouse. If you manage more than one branch, you can assign a virtual warehouse for each branch you have by choosing it from the list. After modifying everything, just click on Save. Through the employee default warehouses, you can assign a default warehouse for each user on the system to be selected automatically when performing operations on the inventory. However, this doesn't mean restricting the employee's powers to choose any other warehouse that they have been granted access to. The Printable Templates page allows you to add and customize printing templates for various transactions on inventory. We will now go to Product Settings. Through the barcode settings, you can activate and adjust the barcode that includes the weight, which allows the system to read the barcode and know the weight and price of the product. Through categories and depending on your activity, you can create categories to organize the products and services added to the system by clicking on New Categories and entering the category name. You can also create subcategories that follow the main categories like. After that, Unit Templates. From here, you can create a unit template according to the nature of the products you have. For example, I will add a unit template. This is for measuring grams and kilograms, while specifying the conversion factor by clicking on Add a new unit template, the base unit name, the short name, the unit name, the factor, short name, template name. Then click on Save, and now the template has been added. Through the custom fields, you can create an additional field manually to add it to the products page in case there are other data you would like to add and it's not available in the system. You can set the default taxes by choosing the first tax and the second tax. The system will choose it automatically when creating invoices to save you time. To add a new product, go to the Products and Services page under the Inventory module. Then click on Add a new product, service, or bundle. Let's start with adding a new product. Here's the product name, and then the purchase price and the selling price. You can also enter the profit margin percentage, and the system will calculate the selling price automatically, but on the condition that you activate the advanced pricing options first. You can also specify the discount that can be applied, as well as specify the lowest selling price for the product. Note that the system has chosen the tax automatically, according to the settings you made a while ago, and according to the nature of the product. Choose the category and the brand. You also can select the unit template, then enter the barcode, and the system can generate it for you if you don't have it. And you can also enter your supplier. In inventory management, you can activate the tracking stock, in which you can select the preferred tracking type, and also you can specify a low stock threshold. So once you reach the specified amount of stock, the system will alert you. Note, you should carefully consider pricing and choose the appropriate unit when applying the unit template. We are going to add a product with the tracking type of quantity and another one with the tracking type of serial number. After reviewing the data entered, click on Save. Let's add a new service now. Note that the service status is active, unlike the added products, which are in the status out of stock, because we activated the tracking option and haven't yet added the quantities to the stock. We see here the number of products and the number of services added. If you have a product that has different colors or sizes, instead of adding each color or size as a separate product, you can, through item groups, add all the colors or sizes to the same product from one page by clicking on Add a Group of Items. Enter the item name, choose the category and brand, and specify the characteristics of such as size or color. In this example, I will enter the sizes, and I can now enter the data for each size into the items table, like this. You can also apply the same input to all items by clicking on the copy icon. Complete the data and then click on Save. Returning to the Products and Services page, we can notice that 3 products have been added to the list. The system provides you the ease of adding a large number of products at once by uploading a prepared Excel file, clicking on Import, and choosing the file that contains the product data. I will add now the quantities of products that are added to the inventory, either by adding the opening balance, creating a requisition to add the quantities, or creating a stock request with the quantity first and then approving the order to convert it to a requisition. We will first explain the method of creating stock requests. Go to the stock request page from the inventory list, then from the top right, add a new request. The request code will be entered automatically specifying the request date. Choose the type and the warehouse in which the quantity will be added. Enter the products and their required quantities, and choose the suitable units of measurement. After you finish, click on Save. Now, the warehouse request can be approved or rejected. After approval, we will convert the order to a requisition. From here, we will review the request details. If the products you have are tracked by serial number, as in this example, you must enter the serial numbers for each piece. After you finish, click on Confirm. If we go to the Manage Requisitions page, we will notice that the store request has been added successfully as a requisition. Also, as we indicated a moment ago, you can create the requisition directly by clicking on Add Manual Inbound, Outbound, or Transfer, and that is for transferring the quantities of products between the warehouses you have. Next, I will create a transfer request by clicking on Manual Transfer. Choose the source warehouse and the target warehouse, enter the products and quantities that you wish to transfer. Then click on Confirm to complete the transfer. I will now return to the Products and Services page to follow up on the status of the different products after adding the stock requests and requisitions. Here, 800 grams of the first product were added, and 2 pieces of the product with the serial number were also added. By reviewing the first product, you can see the distribution of quantities between the 2 warehouses as a result of the transfer request created. And by clicking on Stock Transactions, you can review all the operations that took place on the product in the inventory. There are some other procedures related to inventory that you can perform, including product tracking. You can review the tracked products by clicking on Product Tracking. On this page, all products will appear to you according to their tracking type. From the Price Lists page, you can customize the different prices for each product by creating a price list for it. To clarify further, you may sell the same products at wholesale prices and other retail prices. And while creating the sales invoice, you can choose the suitable price for each customer based on the price list prepared in advance. And from Manage Stock Takings page, you can at any time conduct a stock inventory to know the actual quantity available within the warehouses. We discussed a little while ago how to add treasuries and bank accounts, and now we will learn how to deal with them and link them to payment methods. By going to the Treasuries and Bank Accounts page, you can take many actions by clicking on the 3 dots located to the right of the Treasury or the bank account. Note: it is not possible to delete any Treasury or bank account if any previous transaction has been completed on a bank account. By clicking on View, then System Transactions, all transactions that have been performed will be displayed, whether they are withdrawals or deposits. And by clicking on Import Bank Statement, you can import the bank statement and match the transactions listed in it with the transactions that have been performed on the system. Accordingly, for the type of transactions imported from the account statement, you can convert them into bills of exchange or receipt. There are many options at the top provided for you by the Actions bar, including the Transfer option, which enables you to transfer the balance between a treasury and a bank, or between 2 different banks. From this page, select the source treasury and the target bank account. Enter the amount you want to transfer, and the system will show you the available balance before and after the transfer process. Review the data entered, and then click on Transfer. This will complete the transfer process. Note: unless you restrict access to treasuries or bank accounts, any of your users will be able to choose any of them when creating various transactions on the system. The system also provides the option to designate the treasury or bank account to which the balance will be added when using different payment methods. And this can be done by going to Settings, then Payment Methods. At the top are manual payment methods, and at the bottom are the online payment methods. Note: online payment methods like PayPal, Tamara, and others require first communicating with the service provider to subscribe in order to activate them. Choose the payment method and click Manage, so that this method is among the payment methods available to the customers. When linking the system to your online store, enable the availability for online clients. From the default treasury list, select the treasury or the bank account to which the balance will be added when using the payment method. You can also specify the administration expenses or commissions applied when using the payment method, and that's if they are a percentage or a fixed amount. In the minimum amount field, enter the minimum payment expenses, and you can choose the tax applied to these expenses, if any. After you finish, click on Save. The system also provides you with the ease of creating a new payment method by clicking on New Custom Payment Method and entering its data and then clicking on Save. We now move to templates, which provide you with the ease of designing and coordinating the printing forms for each of the operations that are performed on the website, such as invoices, bonds, daily entries, and more. Through the side menu, click on Templates, then Printable Templates. In this example, I will create a new printable template for sales invoices and estimates. The templates that were previously created will appear here. To create a new one, click on New Layout from the top right of the page. The system has many templates that are prepared and can be modified. There is something designed for A4 size, and there's also what is designed for rolls of thermal printer paper for POS, point-of-sale devices. Designs are also available in Arabic, English, or both. Choose one of the templates by clicking on it. From the side menu on the left, we will start with the template data. Enter the template's name. When you click on Set this layout as default, this template will be set as a default template and will be chosen automatically when printing sales invoices, estimates, credit notes, and also refund receipts. You can set this template to be the default template for these previous actions or some of them. According to your desire and need, you can disable or activate the option where the currency sign doesn't appear in the price of the items. As we notice here, the currency is SR, which stands for Saudi Riyal. You can also display or hide the fields of the amount paid and the amount due at the bottom of the invoice here. If you need to print shipping details in the invoice, you can activate this option as a new section will be printed that includes the customer's name and address. Choose from the list the order in which the unit and quantity columns appear. Here is the unit price column and the quantity column. By going to the title section, you can control the addresses of each sales transaction, and these addresses are printed at the top of the template, as we can see. The title of the invoice can be modified to become a tax invoice instead of an invoice, and so on. After you finish, click on Save. You can customize a separate logo for this template by clicking on Logo, choose File, and then uploading the logo photo from your PC and formatting it through these two bars. Then click on Save. After that, we move on to Business Info, where additional information about your business can be included in its section in the invoice. For example, we will the VAT and its number. After saving, this additional information will be permanently printed in this place. It is also possible to add one of the information from the list of recorded placeholders. For example, I will add the client's mobile number to the customer data. Thus, the system adds the mobile number added to the client file when using this template. You can also use the full variable guide to access the names of all variables available in the system, whether for company information, customers, invoices, and more. By applying the previous steps, you can also modify the shipping information section. As for the item columns section, it allows you to modify the columns of the table of items or products in the invoice by changing the order of columns or their names, or by adding other fields from the list according to your need. You can create other information fields and add them to the template through the Custom Fields section by clicking on Add More field and choosing the field. The Labels section provides you with the option to name any of the column titles or fields in the template according to need. By clicking on Header, you will be able to format the page header by entering the value of one of the variables, fixed text, or an image. You can also format the footer, which will appear at the bottom of the invoice. If you want to change the type or size of font used in the template, do so by clicking on Style. You can also format the colors of the item table, in addition to adjusting the size of the template by choosing from the list or manually entering the dimensions of the paper you use. You can also adjust the margins and remember to click on Save if you made any modifications. Finally, you can add more information to the invoice template to be included in the Notes section at the bottom of the page, such as IBAN number, for example, or terms and conditions. After finishing adjusting the template settings, click on Save at the top right of the page. The template has been successfully saved. I will now go to the sales list to create a new sales invoice. As we can see, I can choose the new template from this list and preview the invoice to see it in the new template, and you can save the invoice or print it using this format or template. The system is characterized by the ease of managing the entire sales cycle, starting from creating an estimate to converting it into a sales order. You can then create the sales invoice directly. We will first begin by reviewing the sales settings before explaining the transactions. To do this, go to the Sales module, then to Sales Settings, and choose General Invoice Charge Estimate Settings. At the top, the system displays the number for the following sales invoice, and you can modify the number or the numbering method through the Auto Number settings. You can also activate the option to change the invoice number by entering it manually. However, this option is not available to users in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in accordance with the requirements of the Zakat, Tax, and Customs Authority. Regarding the invoicing method, you can choose how to issue invoices by printing, sending them via email, or selecting both options. You can also choose the discount option, whether it applies to the total invoice, to each item, or both, allowing you to select the most appropriate option when creating the invoice. Depending on your preference, you can hide or show the zero fractions that appear. Note that when hidden, they will only display if there are fractions. You can choose for the system to display either the last selling price of the product or the last selling price made to the client. When you disable invoice item editing, the process of adding products will be limited to selecting them from the list of products registered in the system only. To enable the Estimate module, ensure that the Disable Estimate module option is unchecked. To enable manual statuses for each invoice, check the option to Enable Invoice, Manual Statuses, then edit the statuses list. The same applies to estimates. You can disable the delivery shipping options when there is no need to add shipping data to the invoice. You can activate the option for a maximum discount, allowing you to set a maximum discount for the admin account as well as for each employee. Activating the sales adjustment option will allow you to add or deduct an amount from the invoice without affecting the tax value. When you activate the option to mark invoices as already paid by default, the already paid status will be selected automatically when creating the sales invoice, without the need to add payment details. Regarding the option to preview the invoice before saving, you will see the option to preview the invoice before sending or printing. By activating the option to auto-pay invoices if the client has available credit, the system will automatically pay the invoices when there is a credit balance in the client account. After creating the estimates, as mentioned earlier, activate the Select Price List in Invoices option, so the system allows you to choose the appropriate price list when creating invoices. By activating the option to send transactions via social media, you will see the option to send on the invoice creation page. By activating the option to display the invoice profit, the system will display the profit value in a dedicated section within the invoice page. For the option to stop selling expired tracking items to work, you must activate tracking by expiry date when adding products. You can customize a journal description according to your needs by manually entering the description in this field. By activating the option, not selling below average cost, the lowest selling price will be greater than or equal to the average cost price. Regarding the option to apply offers for estimates, you will be able to apply discount offers on the items while creating estimates. You can activate the option to enable sales orders, and you can also set a manual status for each sales order. The option to exceed the sales order quantity in the sales invoices can be activated, as well as the debit note option, in case of dealing with returns, for example. You can also prevent employees from selling any product listed under a specific category by choosing the category from the list. After you finish adjusting the settings, click Save. From the Sales Settings page, you can create and manage templates for invoices and estimates, modify the list of statuses for invoices, estimates, and sales orders, and create offers and discounts for products. You can also create custom fields, control the maximum discount percentage for each employee, and add companies or shipping methods to delivery methods. Activate electronic invoice settings and link the account with the Zakat Authority or the Tax Authority. Additionally, add and manage order sources to include in sales invoices, such as table numbers in restaurants, for example. To create an estimate, go to the Sales module. Click on Create an Estimate, select the preferred invoicing method, and choose the client from the list or add a new client. Choose the appropriate template, and you can also edit the estimate date. The currency symbol will be displayed here, and you can choose another currency. Add products or services, enter the price, and select the tax. Based on your settings, you can apply the discount per item or to the total invoice from this section. Based on your settings, you can apply the discount per item or to the total invoice from this section. To add a large group of items at once, you can use the Paste from Sheet option to copy items from an Excel file, for example. The Discount and Adjustment section allows you to add or deduct an amount from the value of the invoice without affecting the tax value. Enter notes or attachments as needed. After reviewing the entries, save the estimate as a draft and preview it before issuing it. When you click Save, the estimate will be available on the Manage Estimate page. After creating the estimate, you can now convert it to a sales order or bypass that and convert it directly to an invoice. If you convert it into a sales order, it will be available on the Manage Sales Orders page. You can create a sales order directly without the need to create an estimate first by clicking on Create Sales Order. Note that the status of the sales order is updated from open to ordered. Next, convert the sales order to a sales invoice. You can record the method of payment and indicate whether the payments are partial or full. When working with sales invoices, managing payment methods, whether partial or complete, is a breeze. Here's how you can handle them effortlessly. Click on Deposit and enter the value of the advance payment. Activate the Already Paid option. Select the appropriate treasuries and payment type. Note, the paid value will be displayed here. For the full paid, activate Already Paid. Enter the details of the payment process. Specify the warehouse for carrying out quantities from the Shipping Details section. For precise control, activate Select the warehouse per item and select the respective warehouses. Choose the shipping method and any associated fees. Ensure shipping methods are added first for selection. Save your invoice as a draft to modify later, without affecting other processes like the journal entries. Note, when you save the invoice, you will not be able to edit it later. When the invoice is ready, click Issue Invoice from the draft page. Then you can confirm or edit the requisition for confirming some of the products but not others, to finalize which products are confirmed. Activate the option in the settings to view the total profit of the invoice from this tab at the top. Also, you can review the journal entry for the invoice to check all accounting details in addition to sales orders. All your invoices will be neatly organized on the Invoice Management page. If the invoice is unpaid or postpaid, use the Actions bar in the invoice to set up an installment agreement with the customer. Enter the installment value, period of installments, and the installment start date. Then the system will calculate the number of installments for you. Note, you'll receive notifications when installment payments are due. The system provides you with two options for dealing with returns, and they are Refund Receipt. If you choose a refund receipt, specify items to be returned and activate the total amount of the returned items has been refunded to the client option after you return the amount to the customer. Credit Note. Alternatively, create a credit note, manually add the returned products, and keep their value as a credit for the customer. Click More Options to create a debit note for additional expenses. Enter a description and the amount. You can use the Already Paid option here as well. If your business involves recurring services or goods, generate a recurring invoice for automatic billing. From the recurring invoices, click New Subscription. Specify the billing interval and number of occurrences, fill in the details, and save. Moving to the Point of Sales overview. Let's dive into the essential configurations that will streamline your sales process and make your transactions smooth and efficient. First up, General Settings. If your business primarily deals with cash transactions and doesn't require extensive account tracking, setting a default customer account is a great option. However, don't worry. You can always select or add a new customer for each invoice directly from the Point of Sales page. Decide if users should have access to all product categories or only specific categories. Activate the number pad to easily input quantities or values. Enable field verification settings to use custom fields within Point of Sale invoices. Activate the option to display product images for a more detailed view. When you activate the accounting system per invoice, A journal entry will be created for each invoice. When it is disabled, a single journal entry will be created for the entire sales session when it is closed. Also, when activating accounting system per invoice, you will be able to track products by serial number, lot, and expiration date, and allowing partial payment options as well. When activating Enable Auto Adjustment, the system calculates the difference in collected amounts at the end of the selling session and automatically settles them to the profit or loss account. The default account here is the capital profit and loss account. From settings as well, you can adjust shifts and devices, add and manage shift schedules, and assign employees to each shift. From POS Shift Page, you can link device to a specific warehouse, thus linking each warehouse you have to an independent device. Also, the status must be active so that you can choose the devices from POS Device page. Click Start Selling from the Point of Sales list. Choose your shift and device, then confirm. In the interface, the available products and services for sale will appear. Automate your e-commerce accounting for every channel you sell on, including POS. Manually select products or use a barcode reader to add products to the invoice. You will see the quantity increase when you click on the product. To adjust the quantity, you can either type the desired amount using your keyboard, or if your screen is touch-sensitive, click on the quantity and then select the number directly. If the product has more than one unit of measurement, choose the appropriate unit from here. Invoice receipts will allow to review previous invoices, add payments, or process returns. If you want to change the client in the invoice, click on Search for Client, then choose a client from the Client page. Also, you can add a new client by clicking on Add New Client. Use the search function to search for product if the barcode reader fails. Moving to our purchase cycle tutorial. As we explained a little while ago, steps for managing sales module. Now it's time to dive into how to manage your purchase cycle efficiently. Creating a purchase request. Navigate to the Purchases list and select Purchase Requests. Click on Add Purchase Request. Enter a name for the order. It will auto-generate a code, but feel free to modify it if needed. Specify the order date and due date. Add your items and enter the required quantity, specifying the required quantities and units of measurement. Once everything looks good, hit Save at the top. Converting to a quotation request. After your request is approved, you will be able to convert it to a quotation request by clicking on Convert. Choose your supplier and review the quotation request details. Adjust any data as necessary. Save it, and you can then convert it to a purchase quotation. You have the flexibility to adjust prices here. Save it as a draft or preview it before finalizing. Approving and creating a purchase order. Once your quotation is saved, you can either reject or approve it. After approval, convert it to a purchase order. Managing purchase requests and orders. On the purchase request page, you can view all new requests and add new one. From quotation requests, you can manage quotation requests and also add a new quotation request without the need to create a purchase requests. And the same applies to purchase quotations and purchase order. Note the last price in the purchase order is in the status pending, and when review it, we will be able to convert it to a purchase invoice. Thus, the invoice will be saved. Manage requisition. If you have activated the requisition from the inventory settings, you will be able to confirm, reject, or modify the requisition request so the products are added to inventory. Handling purchase invoices. The Purchase Invoices page allows you to view and manage all invoices. You can also add a new purchase invoice without needing to go through previous steps. If you need to create a return for a product, use the refund option from the action bar. You can choose between a purchase refund to return the value from the supplier by activating the option of the total amount of the returned items has been refunded from supplier, or a debit note to keep the amount in the supplier's balance. As we can see that when choosing debit note, the total amount of the returned items has been refunded from supplier option is not going to be there. Managing returns and debit notes. You can manage returns by going to Purchase Refund page, as well as debit notes from Debit Notes page. And of course, you can create a new refund from here without having to go to the original purchase invoice page. Moving to managing income and expenses in the Daftar system. Let's dive into how you can easily handle financial tasks. Start by navigating to the expenses page in the finance module. Here, you can manage and track your expenses efficiently. To add a new expense, simply click on Add New Expense. For bulk entries, you can import a large group of expenses by uploading a pre-prepared CSV file. An expense code is automatically generated, but you can modify it if needed. Choose a suitable category for your expense or add a new one if required. Select the Treasury account for which the amount will be transferred. If you select a category when saving the expense, a new sub-account will be created in the chart of accounts with the category name. If no category is selected, the expense will be recorded under the default account, Other Expenses. In the journal entry, the debit going to be the Other Expenses account, and credit going to be the chosen Treasury or bank account. If you specify a sub-account, like an electricity account, your journal entry will clearly show transactions from electricity account to the Treasury account. This makes expense management and reporting more straightforward. If you include a supplier, their data, e.g. commercial registration and tax numbers, it will be included in both the expense record and tax reports. Adding tax will automatically increase the total amount. By clicking on Multiple, you can add several sub-accounts, apply separate taxes, and set individual cost centers for each sub-account, and the system will calculate the amounts with tax and display the final total. For recurring expenses like monthly rent or bills, you can set up the system to automatically issue these expenses until a specified end date. This saves you time and ensures nothing is missed. After saving, view your expense on the Expenses page. You can also check the journal entry by clicking the journal entry number. Use the search option at the top to quickly locate any expense. Moving to incomes. When you create an income, follow similar steps to add income. Note that in the journal entry, the debit side will be the Treasury account and the credit side will be the income account. If no sub-account is chosen, the income will be recorded under Other Income account in the chart of accounts. We're diving into an important feature, adding cost centers. This will help you organize your accounting and keep everything on track. Let's get started. First, head over to the Accounting module and select Cost Center. You will find dealing with Cost Center is similar to dealing with the chart of accounts. It's user-friendly and straightforward. Now, click on Add a new cost center. Here, you'll enter the name of your cost center. Feel free to modify the code if needed. If you want this cost center to be a sub-account, select the Parent Center from Parent Cost Center field. If the Parent Cost Center option is activated, it will be added as a parent cost center. Now, by clicking on your cost center, you'll see any associated sub-account displayed. You can easily add new sub-account by clicking on Add Cost Center under your Parent Cost Center. You can create multiple levels of subsidiary cost centers accounts. Continue adding until you reach the last sub-account, where all your transactions will be stored. Simply repeat these steps to add as many sub-account as you need. Now, let's talk about assigning these cost centers to your transactions. For a sales invoice, navigate to the Sales module. Go to the Manage Invoices page. View your invoice and click on Assign Cost Centers. The same applies to purchase invoices. When it comes to incomes and expenses, you can assign a cost center when adding a new income or expenses by activating the Assign Cost Center option. If you enable the Multiple option, you can assign independent cost centers for each sub-account you add. This flexibility extends to creating journal entries as well. Choose the appropriate cost center from the Cost Center field, and click Multiple to select several cost centers, distributing amounts based on specified percentages. To keep track of everything, you can view detailed reports for your cost centers. Just click on the Reports icon here, or by going to Report module, then the Accounting Reports and select Reports for cost centers. This gives you valuable insights of your cost center. Work orders and workflows serve similar purposes to cost centers, but they each have their unique features. Let's dive into the details. Creating a new work order. To get started, simply go to your Work Orders module and click on Add Work Order. Enter the title. The order number is generated automatically. Feel free to modify it as needed. Next, specify the start and finish dates and add a description if necessary. Select the client from those registered in the system. You can also add a relevant tag. Now it's time to determine your estimated budget for expenses or invoices. If you want this budget specifically for invoices, just remember to adjust that from work order settings. You can assign an employee to the work order, ensuring accountability. Once you've entered all the data, click Save. After saving, you can add all related financial transactions by clicking Add, then choosing the required transaction type. You can also link previously created transactions to the work order by clicking Assign Transaction. Here, you can choose from the list or enter the transaction number manually, then confirm. Once completed, you'll see the invoice in the list of invoices related to the work order. The list will display the types of added transactions. By clicking on the work order, you'll access a comprehensive report showcasing all transactions and comparing the estimated budget against actual expenses, perfect for tracking and controlling costs. Key difference. The crucial distinction between work orders and cost centers lies in how transactions are linked. In work orders, transactions are tied to a single order, while cost centers allow expenses to be distributed across multiple centers. Moving to workflows. Workflows offer a fantastic way to organize and manage detailed work tasks, especially in fields with multiple departments needing distinct management, like a car maintenance workshop. To create a new workflow, head to Workflow module, access the Settings page, and click on Types of Workflow. Here, you can add new workflow types tailored to your needs, ensuring that each department has the appropriate structure. From the Management page, you can assign specific work tasks to each workflow, keeping everything running smoothly and efficiently. We conclude that work orders, workflows, and cost centers will contribute to more effective management of your business and financial resources. Next, let's dive into managing your financial periods. To get started, head to the Accounting module and click on Accounting Settings. From there, select Financial Periods. To add a new financial period, simply choose the start date and select the period type. The system will automatically calculate the end date for you. If you need to customize the dates, just click on the Customize option. Once you're satisfied, hit Save to add the financial period. You'll notice that the status of your new financial period will be marked as Open. At the end of the period, you can easily close it by clicking on the three-dot menu and selecting Close. A new window will pop up where you can set up the next period and specify its dates. After clicking Save and returning to the previous page, you'll see the new period added, while the previous period will be marked as Closed, along with its profit or loss value displayed next to it. If you need to amend or add data to a closed financial period, simply select Cancel from the three-dot menu in the Open period and confirm by clicking Yes. Don't worry, this procedure won't delete any entries or transactions. All transactions from the current and previous periods will remain available in the system. You can then modify or add any necessary details to the financial period. Once finished, remember to close it and add a new period. To ensure that you manage your business efficiently and accurately, the system offers a wide range of reports to help you track transactions and evaluate results effectively. Simply navigate to the Reports module. Here, you'll find a variety of reports for each section. Easily access any report by clicking on it to gain insights into your financial performance. In conclusion, we wish you a successful experience with the Daftra system. If you have any questions or encounter challenges while using the software, our dedicated technical support team is available 24/7. Feel free to reach out to us by phone, via WhatsApp, or through email. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to supporting your continued success.